Bustling with people purchasing and selling goods, Han enjoyed watching the market during midday. It was a nice change of pace from all the previous fighting they had done. Compared to the usual store locations, this place was set up only during certain times during the day and week. Idrenus had explained that this location was useful for giving people the chance to expose them to new goods coming in and out of the city. After some time had passed, people enjoyed experiencing the new items so much that they made it into a tradition. Now, those living and those passing through would set this place up to honor the exchange of cultural diversity the city encouraged. What do you think of this? Celestra appeared in front of him and shoved something into his mouth. What are you? He garbled with food placed inside. There was a cool sensation that pervaded his taste buds, soon replaced by a sweet taste. Seeing his expression change, Celestra grinned. Does it not taste amazing? I have never tasted anything sweet like that before. Master, the taste is quite delicious, though nothing compared to what is served inside Felicitas. Though her words sounded harsh, the expression on Brittany's face was the complete opposite. Master, please try this. Annaculus approached him, holding some kind of meat that was dripping with sauce. She placed the item close so he could take a bite out of it and washed his face to see what he thought. This is really good, Han told her, which caused Annaculus to look joyful. I told you that Master would like this, Annaculus nudged her sister while laughing loudly. Sister knows Master so well. Eurasia smiled at how her sister was reacting. Han looked around to see where Queen was located and saw that she was looking at some jewelry. Leaving the girls to explore more of the market, Han approached Queen quietly. What do you have there? He whispered, seeing the various jewelry in front of her. Queen jumped and quickly turned around to face Han. I was just curious about all the different things they sold here. She blushed while her eyes tried to look for a way out. Seeing Han approach the stall, Queen stammered, Master, we should catch up with the others. Brushing her aside, Han looked at the jewelry in front of him. There were bracelets, necklaces, earrings, and a wide variety of items that were placed in pairs. The man that was behind the stall saw Han looking and chuckled. Are you looking for something to get this beautiful young lady? These items of mine are great for young couples. Considering all the people who purchased my goods and married soon after, I'm confident that your lady will greatly enjoy this item. Looking at Queen and seeing her reaction, Han grinned by how deeply red her face was. With how serious Queen always appeared, he enjoyed seeing her act all girly. His eyes wandered down her face and landed on the diamond necklace he had purchased for her in that town near the Elven Kingdom. Seeing that she still kept it around her neck, and seeing how clean it looked, made Han happy deep down. Turning his head back to the items, he noticed a gray-colored gem attached to a ring. Next to the ring was a matching ring, but likely for the male. Smiling at the rings, he picked them up and looked at the store owner. How much for these rings? After purchasing the rings, the two of them walked to a nearby fountain with a statue of a man and woman standing next to one another. The man was holding up a shield and stood in front of the woman, as she held up a staff and appeared to be conjuring a magic spell. Even though it was just around mealtime, the area was relatively clear of people, though some couples sat watching the fountain. Han stopped in front of the fountain and pulled out the ring he purchased, and reached out to grab Queen's hand. As he gently placed the ring on her finger, he looked at her face and saw the complex emotions that were running across her face. Queen, though this ring is not enough to express how I feel towards you, I hope that you will be able to accept it. Though we have only known one another for a short time. I hope that you will continue to stay by my side." Seeing the ring on her finger, she smiled while tears began to form. "Master, being with you is the happiest I have ever felt. Even though you are the one that created me, I know that if I were to be born like a human, I would have eventually arrived at your side." She laughed happily, the sound like chimes ringing in the wind. They gave one another a hug and stayed like that, both of them thinking how lucky they were. "Queen, no fair! Stealing Master all to yourself." Brittany's voice could be heard along with the other girls heading towards them. Hearing the others heading towards them, Han and Queen separated and faced the others. Queen looked bashful in front of the others. The girls noticed the mood, and looks of suspicion crossed their faces. "Look at that pretty ring on Queen's finger," Celestial pointed out. "Let me see," the others crowded around Queen, trying to get a better view. Han enjoyed how they tried to look jealous, but each of them looked happy at seeing Queen's new ring. "Master, we are going to steal Queen and find out how she got you to get her this," Brittany yelled out at Han. Queen looked back at him, her eyes pleading for his help as she was dragged away. Han waved his hand at her, watching her disappear into the market. He chuckled at how they reacted to seeing his gift to Queen. If this was Earth, the girls would be actually jealous of the other and plot their demise. He thought to himself, his mood slightly ruined by the imagery going through his mind. "It looks like you are very popular," an amused voice commented on the scene. Looking towards the voice, Han saw Idrenus standing off to the side, leaning against the wall. She smirked at seeing his surprised expression. "They are very important people to me," Han confessed. "I figured, considering how you put that ring on the woman's finger." She looked very happy, especially compared to the other women I have seen. "The other women in your group seem to be close to her, so I'm assuming there is no jealousy between them," she prodded as she walked up to him. Turning back to where he last saw Queen and the others, "I am also amazed at how they can remain so close to one another. Women do have a habit of ripping the throat of another woman they think is in their way." Idrenus chuckled in agreement at his assessment. "At least you have a very realistic view of women." "So, is there anything I could help you with?" Han asked her, letting her know that he figured she had a reason for talking to him. Walking away from him, she stopped to look back at him before continuing. Sighing and shrugging his shoulders, he followed after her. There must be some point to all of this nonsense, Han thought to himself as he caught up to her. Not wanting to be the first one to break the silence, the two of them continued walking without saying a word. It had a feeling of whoever talked first lost the game. They walked through the city, seemingly without any plan, passing by businesses and homes. There were people greeting one another and children playing in the streets. The city felt very modern, though the material used were the ones seen during the Middle Ages of Europe. Han glanced at the drainage system they utilized and how the streets were not just bare dirt. This world felt more advanced in some areas while staying primitive in others. In front of him appeared the wall of the city, which seemed to block his entire field of vision. It was built out of slabs of stone and fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. Seeing such a thing was fairly impressive, especially without the use of modern machinery. Along the wall, soldiers marched in formation. Idrenus walked along the wall, following the soldiers in front of them. There was an occasional soldier who would greet Idrenus before running ahead of them, likely with some important mission. If one didn't know about the arrival of the overflow, there would definitely be a sense that something was about to occur. The air seemed to hold a feeling of apprehension, elevating the stress of all the soldiers. They walked in silence for what seemed like a significant period, until they approached the entrance into the city. Compared to the entrances of other cities he had seen, this one was a little different. The doors used to enter the city were taller and wider than most. It likely demonstrated how much trade flowed into the city. A sight which surprised him was a massive block of stone that seemed to be held up above the door. That block of stone has probably saved the city more times than I have. Idrenus spoke after seeing Han's eyes land on it. We'll be lowering that stone once the overflow begins, and along with other lines of defense of the entrance, that stone will successfully block the entrance into the city. Also means that you cannot get out if things go south, Han mentioned in response. Idrenus laughed upon hearing his response. Escape into an ocean of open mouths? This entire city will be in the center of a flood of monsters all trying to devour each of us. You think that escape is something possible? She continued laughing. Soldiers near them were staring at the two of them with wide eyes, trying to understand what was happening. While everyone was stressed and scared of things to come, the two of them were talking about something that led to the commander of the guards laughing. Han merely glanced at her reaction, indifferent of her opinion. No, this place is where we will all die if things go differently than planned. She brushed the tears forming in her eyes from all the laughter. This wall looks very impressive. I doubt there will be any worries about whether this city will survive the event, Han casually mentioned. Instead of looking optimistic, Idrenus' face darkened. Yes, this wall will surely hold off those beasts. Her voice didn't express the confidence that was in her words. Do you expect something going wrong? He asked her, catching the shift in mood. Idrenus looked at him and stared into his eyes. It appeared as if she was going to say something before she began walking away again. She is a dramatic person, Han sighed to himself. Idrenus headed towards a series of stairs which led to the top of the wall. Han stood at the foot of the stairway and looked up at the numerous steps leading towards the heavens. Good thing I'm in better shape, or this would be a real bitch, he chuckled before following Idrenus.